Make sure to ask for consent.
3, 2, 1. We are live. Welcome to the Mixed Martial Angst podcast, episode number 41. I am your host, as always, Ben Cohn. Joining me today, we have Alejandro and Bilal. Bilal, who wants to make sure that you always ask for consent. You should. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about, and I, quite frankly, am excited to discuss it because this fight card has my second favorite fighter fighting for the undisputed lightweight title, Dustin Poirier. We have him facing up against undefeated Khabib Nurmagomedov. A lot to discuss in that fight. Obviously, Khabib is the favorite because but we have a plenty to discuss about this fight, I would say. The co-main event is a rematch between Edson Barboza and Paul Felder. It was a good fight last time. Very clear outcome as well. A lot has changed since then. Let's talk about whether it's going to change for the actual matchup at hand. Then we have Islam Makhachev versus Davi Ramos, if we have time. And hell, we have got Curtis Blaydes versus Shamil Abdurakhimov and Mirbach Taisumov versus Carlos Diego Ferreira. That is the main
That's
card.
An interesting one.
That is a really great fight. The main card itself should be a lot of fun. There's some great fights on the undercard. We'll try and get to them. And we also had UFC Szechuan, briefly headlined by Jessica Andrade, who failed to defend her fight against Weili Zhang.
Illegal elbows.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get a chance. And also the co-main, Jingliang, the Leech versus Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. I probably butchered all of those. But let's jump into the main event of UFC 242 because holy crap, I'm excited. Actually, before we jump into that, thank you all for subscribing, sharing, and your support. Thank you, Vic, again for coming on the last episode. It was great to have you. Buy some beef jerky at Ben's_beef jerky on Instagram. Follow the podcast, all that. We really appreciate all the support. And I'm recording this from my old bedroom in my parents' house, and it's really nostalgic. You know what? Shout out to Undercard Superstar. Go check them out. They're a great website. They got a lot of great content. All right. Khabib Nurmagomedov, Dustin Poirier, UFC 242. The main event, this is to unify the title as Dustin Poirier is currently interim champion. If you're going to type, you got to mute. If you're going to type, you got to mute.
Okay, sorry.
All right, so we're going to try and break this down piece by piece. We got the champion. We know what he wants to do. We know how he does it. He does it to everyone. The question is, will he do it to Dustin Poirier? So we're going to start with breaking down what Khabib does well, and we're going to jump into what Dustin does well, and then we're going to see how those interact with each other so that we can potentially have a game plan for each one for this fight. Let's jump into it. What does Khabib Nurmagomedov do well? Let's start with Alejandro.
In the general sense, I would say just grabbing and keeping close to you.
Well, okay. How about okay.
How about just a slightly more specific sense, rather.
Get a little more specific. That would be great.
But he does have this quality that, for example, Demian Maia has, that he has to only be able to touch you somehow to feel where you are relative to his body in order to maneuver you into whatever position he considers best at the time. I mean, the whole idea that this guy can control you at almost any moment, almost regardless of position, it's kind of scary to think.
I wouldn't call it like that instant of control, though, but
yeah,
because he fails on like 40% of his takedown attempts.
Yeah, but he uses a lot of his.
Yes, I know, but it's part of the flow.
Yeah, it's like
that's kind of the thing he's doing.
What you're trying to say in the sense that Demian Maia, similar to Demian Maia, is not necessarily the initial takedown attempt or even the second or third.
Yes, and he's not like jiu-jitsu based either.
No, he's not at all.
He's not like any style really.
Well,
to be honest.
Oh, no, Bilal, it seems like you have more to say on this matter than the specifics of what you're itching. I could see it. So you have the floor. Go ahead.
Yes.
To be fair, that was largely based on a offline argument I had earlier today.
Yeah,
but
I know. You got. We had a. They had a. I was sleeping because I'm an adult with a child. And all the sleep.
How dare you, Ben? Everyone knows new parents don't sleep.
Not a new parent anymore.
Such a deadbeat dad.
Wow, fuck you feelings.
Jesus. What happened there?
Damn.
What? Something you may want to get off your chest, Bilal?
You piece of shit. I will fight you. No.
Yeah. So basically, Khabib, when he first came in, he looked a lot like the wrestlers we see from, Eastern European, the Eastern European region. Like a lot of upper body takedowns, clinch work, and things like that there, but not really an emphasis on top control. But since he's joined AKA, we've kind of seen something new in nearly every single fight since. And a lot of that I kind of attribute to him learning more folk style. Because as I mentioned, when he came in, a lot of it was clinching and attacks off the single leg. But then slowly we've seen, like against Pat Healy, a reactive double leg come into play, as well as that double leg into lift and slam. Then he started showing the low leg single against Daryl Horcher. Against MJ, he started showing
venerable Daryl Horcher.
Oh, how dare I? I must
right.
apologize.
Side note.
So all-time GOAT Daryl Horcher.
He's one of those guys I feel terrible for because he got serious. No, I mean like the injuries from the motorcycle accident really fucked him.
Oh yeah, flip. Yeah, that was sad.
Accident, so I really hope that he's doing okay wherever he is. Go on.
This basic, and then against MJ, he started showing off a ride game that we've really never seen from him before then. And every fight, it just seems to kind of build up. If we're going to talk about the Conor McGregor fight in this one, he even showed, and this might just be because no one has really done it to him before, but in that scramble in the first round, I haven't seen anyone shut down a scramble so decisively, especially when the scramble was that flowy.
You talk about the initial one where he shot
the initial one, yeah. Well, where they circled each other in open space.
Talk about that. A big part of that was Conor willing to engage. He didn't try to disengage. That's part of the problem, and that's one of the things.
Well, he couldn't get Khabib off his ankle either. So it was. I wouldn't
try. He tried to circle to his back and get a seatbelt, and a hook.
Yeah,
like that was dumb. Like that. Like I get it. That was to kind of like say like I'm not afraid, but maybe wait a little bit.
No. I'm not saying that he was a bit too willing.
Like
maybe be afraid a little bit.
Maybe be a little bit like, hey, it's
just a little bit.
Like let me wait till we're sweaty or some shit. Like I don't know.
Well, yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean like I don't disagree with that either because like, has he ever watched a Khabib fight?
Get the fuck out, man! What are you doing?
Yeah. Maybe don't get taken down. Like, have you tried that?
Like I get.
I don't want to make fun of. I don't want to make fun of Dylan Dennis because I know he's your bra, but like.
No, he's nice. Like.
I listen.
He's not
I like Dennis.
Asshole.
I like Dennis.
I like the shit on Dennis. The dude is actually like I've got. I mean, I knew him before he got thrown out of Marcelo's, but he's still a nice guy. Like I know people like who are from Marcelo's who have seen him in the streets of New York. Like the dude's still himself. He's just it's a character. Like it's straight up. Like
yeah, I don't mind that, but like at some point during the first round of that fight, I kind of wondered like if Conor really believed Dylan Dennis' whole public shtick about him being the best grappler. Like
I don't think so.
No,
I know Conor is very interesting, but I also don't think he's completely delusional about his skills. He knows.
Yeah, but I mean, like Khabib grabs your ankle in the first round, in a sequence where it looks like you're barely moving when you shot. And then your initial reaction is, I'm going to out-grapple this dude.
Dumb, but also I get what he was trying to do. I just think it was poor decision-making. Look, it's what it is. Anyway,
but
move on.
In any case, I just want to say it was also, the scrambling was really good from Conor, because we've seen guys like Al, and we've basically seen literally all of Khabib's recent opponents fail at having any headway, and Conor had some before just, getting dominated by Khabib on the ground. So
I think yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, but in any case, we've seen something new from him in every fight. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that he grew up in Dagestan with his father being a Sambo coach, and then came to America where he could better integrate folk style, because the best top control wrestlers we've seen in MMA have usually been folk style wrestlers, just because in Eastern European freestyle is a bit more popular.
Right.
Well, a lot more popular.
Well, it isn't just a lot. Folk style is a uniquely American thing.
Yeah.
But not American, specifically a United States thing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. But yeah, in any case so we've seen Khabib develop the sort of hybrid style that switches back and forth between folk style and the Eastern European style, where he might shoot in for a single leg, and then unlike DC or Chad Mendes, instead of them chaining off that single or double leg, he'll then switch to an upper body trip, or switch to a lift, or throw, or go back to the legs. And it's the sort of chaining between styles that really makes him effective. But what I don't see being mentioned much is that you see guys who can chain wrestle all the time, but it's usually chain wrestling in the context of like folk style or or the Eastern European freestyle thing there. And there are certain changes which you come to kind of expect, whereas Khabib kind of cycles between the two. So it's a lot harder to kind of make sure he doesn't get access, to a reap or a weak plane of your body where he can throw you,
right,
or just switch back to a double on the fence. And that catches a lot of people up, because everyone is going to bring in good wrestlers to help them train for him. But like those wrestlers also have their own style, and those styles are usually one or the other. So when you are trying to grapple him in a prolonged exchange, it just seems like a losing effort to kind of go head to head instead of just trying to get the fuck out of there.
Well, that's where we're getting to Dustin Poirier, I would say.
Yeah.
That needs to be mentioned is that if you take a look at their last 5 opponents, it's kind of needs
old strikers.
No, it kind of needs to be mentioned that the Khabib's 5 does not really stack up to Poirier's, like at all.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Oh, really? You think Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje, Pettis, and Max Holloway compares to Conor McGregor after a 3-year layoff, Ally Quinta on short notice, Edson Barboza and Michael Johnson and Darrell Horcher?
Well, yeah, especially the Conor McGregor one. I mean, people go on about the 3-year layoff, but
listen,
he still had a boxing fight in between.
Yeah, he had a boxing fight and came back off a coke binge. Come on.
Yeah, but the point of ring rust is that you haven't.
This is not.
The point of ring rust. The point of ring rust isn't that. The point of ring rust isn't that you haven't taken an MMA fight in a long time. It's that you kind of need to shake off whatever lack of confidence you need getting back in there.
Okay, and the very first thing we saw Conor McGregor do was make a fucking dumbass mistake.
I'm not saying you are smart. I'm just saying you was a good fighter. Okay. I am not saying you are smart.
Oh, I'm not saying he's not a good fighter, but are we really going to say that Conor McGregor in I think it was 2018 when they fought, is a better fighter than Max Holloway or Gaethje? I wouldn't.
He beat Eddie Alvarez. I'm not saying that they were better than him. I'm just saying that he did prove that he's at that level with him.
What I'm trying to say is that Conor McGregor is quite unproven at lightweight. Let's be honest. He's 2-2.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but we at least know he lies somewhere between Eddie Alvarez and Khabib.
Which is a big fucking...
That's a big gap, but Eddie Alvarez is the standard of competition Poirier was beating.
That's fair. Okay, so let's move. Fine, that's fair. Let's move to how this plays out is that I don't think either one of them has fought a single one like the other, which is...
Oh, yeah, I totally agree.
Now, let's talk about what Dustin Poirier does well, because we talked about specifically how well, what Khabib does well, and, you know...
Poirier, may I chime in?
Yeah, please.
Now that we're mentioning Dustin, I was watching his fight against Diego Ferreira.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow, that was.
And there was this, yes, but there was something that really caught my eye. That first of all, he's grappling based, Diego Ferreira. That's not Khabib necessarily, right?
No.
But there was a moment when Ferreira got an arm drag on Dustin, and the first instinct of Poirier was to just jump ahead and roll out of it, like, but quickly, really quickly. So this guy, like, it's not like that's part of his game has gotten worse. Second, like, if he's going to beat Khabib, like, the things that he needs, everything that Bilal said is true, right? And he's mixing things better than everyone, but that what he is adding into his game, and here what you can disagree with me, are things that have been done elsewhere. So what he's doing is that he's like growing, like his, let's say, the list of things that he can chain together. But that doesn't mean he's a specialist at any one of them.
Who are you talking about?
So if he, Khabib.
Okay, because I wasn't very clear. Okay, go ahead.
No, so if Dustin is going to beat this guy, he's going to shut down one thing, just shut down the chain from the beginning. And that seems kind of doable in the sense that, first of all, he has good leading single attacks. He has longer reach. He has better footwork, considerably better footwork.
Well, that was kind of what we were going to get into. We were going to break down the components of Dustin's game.
Yes, that's what I was doing.
Right. But, like, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yes. So every tool that he would need in order to shut down that specific aspect of the wrestling that Khabib has, he kind of already has it, right? Add to it that if it needs to get deep into those exchanges, when you have where the Dagestani aspect has to come in for Khabib to sort of get control of Dustin, even then there is some, I would argue, significant chance that it comes into play the fact that this guy has two Dagestani people training at ATT. They've been there since 2016. In what's his name?
Makhachev?
Yes, and Islam, what?
Islam Makhachev is the one who's also fighting.
Yes, Islam Makhachev.
He trains at AKA.
And Omari.
Islam trains at AKA.
No, Omari Akhmedov.
Wow, no.
And Muslim Shalikov.
No. Muslim Shalikov maybe, but Omari Akhmedov, don't bring him in. He's not.
No, but I mean in the sense. No, I know. I'm going on a limb here. What I'm saying is that. Wait, Omari Akhmedov is at ATT, isn't he?
I don't know, but he's also not a great fighter at all.
I know, but that's my point. Like, he doesn't have to be a great fighter. What he could be useful in terms, would be in terms of instruction. That's what I mean.
I'm trying to remember who it was, but somebody said they brought in Zach Cummings as a training partner to face against Robbie Lawler. Like, no, just because you're a southpaw who kind of has a similar game to this person, you also have to, like, account for the levels to this shit. Like, you can't say I'm bringing in American. First of all, I don't know if American Menov trains at he does train at ATT, but like at the same time, like, you can't, like, there you have to bring in someone of the similar who's able to actually implement that style. And I think you were thinking of Rashid Magomedov, by the way.
Also, isn't Rashid Magomedov and Muslim Shalikov kickboxers?
Rashid Magomedov is also a Sambo guy, though.
Yeah, but in terms of style, both of them seem to be primarily kickboxers.
He is a master sport in combat Sambo.
Yep.
I don't know how that translates to actual skills. I really don't. I don't know what that means because I can if you tell me
but
I get what
that's basically, from my understanding, it's like a black belt.
Oh.
So
really? Okay. So
that's from my rudimentary
Yes.
understanding. I could be wrong.
That is a super broad term. Then it doesn't really.
Yeah, that could
really
mean anything.
Yes, it's very broad.
Right. So anyway, Muslim Salikov, I think, is who you're thinking of. Also, he's
yes.
He's 35. Wow. Also, his name is also.
No, I mean,
also, his name is Muslim Magomedovich Salikov. I just want to.
Yes. Well, Magomedovich is because his father is foreign.
Well, he's also.
That's just the indicator. That's just the indicator of being like a top tier training partner if you name as Magomedian.
Yes. So anyway, what I was saying is that. Okay. First things first. The things that we need to talk about that I think are specifically going to that we know Dustin does extremely well. He's, I think, the best pocket boxer in MMA today. Arguably, the best pure boxer in MMA today is arguable. Okay. He has incredibly heavy hands. His defense is extremely active. He has a very active defense, but he's also he's not at the Robbie Lawler stage of his career where he's got active defense, deflects and parries a lot of shots, glancing shots, doesn't really hit a lot of things, hit clean, but he's still throwing counters as well after he does so. Lawler obviously was always more of a counter-based fighter as well, but we don't see him throwing those shots anymore. We see that from Dustin. He's not just going to sit there and eat shots. The problem is that Khabib, when he throws in combination, they're rushing forward. They're big power shots. So that's what he's going to use to try and drive Dustin back. We do know that, that's where he gets his work done. Khabib needs to pressure you in order to get his work done. Dustin is not easy to pressure. I mean, here's the thing about, well, I'm getting into the game plan, but again, what Dustin does well, he's an incredible pocket boxer. His defense is extremely active. He does not let takedowns deter him or throw off his game necessarily at all. I think the last time we saw his game get weird was Jim Miller, but that was a weird fight overall. I actually watched it live. There seemed to be something up with both of them. I know Jim Miller had Lyme disease, and I think Poirier was also a little bit wonky in the fight lead up to the fight as well physically. I think he was having his hip issues. So aside from that Jim Miller fight, we really don't see a lot of people effectively pressure Poirier. And even when they do get him on the ground, Poirier's defense on the ground it's kind of similar in a way to the Khabib game plan of, I'm going to get tired, but I'm going to make you more tired. Poirier is never stopping. He's constantly trying to get up. He's constantly striking you from the bottom. He's going to throw up submission attempts. He's not really afraid to be on his back, which is something that I think is important because if you actually look at the game plan, so one of Dustin's coaches actually was talking about they're going to finish him in the fourth round, which is what my pick is. Spoiler alert. TKO fourth round. And they straight up said, we're going the long game. We know that they were going to get taken down. We're training to get up. We're not necessarily saying stop the takedown at all costs. We know we're likely going to get taken down. They're specifically talked about how our game plan will revolve around specifically strengthening the core and hips in order to be able to dig for underhooks on him and separate and work to land strikes off the break. Or even when he's still attempting to clinch, landing strikes to hurt him and deter him.
Wait, they said this?
Yeah, this is literally an article up right now. I can read you.
Why did they say this out loud, though?
Because it's not going to change anything. There's nothing wrong with that. Fighters will. He's they're obviously working on his improving his cardio, which I want to get to that. They're working on the strengths of his hip and posterior chain in general. His back and glutes and hamstring are going to be important for extension of the hip so he can stop shots efficiently and shoot his hips in. The goal is to really make sure we're digging for underhooks and Dustin has a strong core so he can rotate. As they're working on his rotational strength as well. Then he talks about.
I like that.
Yeah,
it's just that I'm not used to hearing this. It's just that it's
and as far as conditioning goes, they really worked on muscle.
I love it.
They actually talked about how his VO2 max, which is apparently the maximum rate of oxygen consumption measured during incremental exercise, it's in the 60s, which is 10 points away from being an elite marathon runner. So
holy shit.
They've brought him to a point where his cardio is his ability to maintain that cardio is extremely high. And it sounds like what they're basically saying is that we know Khabib is going to come out hard. He's going to do his usual grappling thing for the first 2 rounds. They're ready for that. They're aware of it. And here's where I think it comes down to game plan, is that they talked about also hitting the body. Their game plan is to basically
I hope so.
They're going to make him more tired than Dustin and then take advantage when Khabib has to rest. Because we know that Khabib, when he exerts himself a lot and can't get like super dominant in the first 2 rounds, he does take time off. We saw it in the Conor fight.
We have seen that.
We saw it against Edson Barboza every single time. And here's the thing. We haven't seen Khabib really face someone with good defensive footwork. And Poirier's footwork is really good. It's really, really good. Like, Conor, as good as he is not necessarily excellent at avoiding pressure. I mean, Nate Diaz walked him into the cage by literally walking towards him. You know, Al Quinta didn't really pressure. Then we had Edson Barboza, who's not exactly known for his phenomenal footwork in extended sequences, and Michael Johnson as well is kind of like, you know, iffy on the footwork, as at least he was at lightweight.
I wouldn't call him iffy on the footwork, but he had his own set of issues that
definitely
will be a bit long to get into right now.
Right,
but I wouldn't call him iffy on that end.
Is that Dustin is not necessarily, while I do agree with the point that, like, we really haven't seen Dustin face guys who have specifically focused on the wrestling attack, except for Eddie Alvarez. And when Eddie did get him down, it was just like he really couldn't do too much to Poirier.
Well,
he was terrified.
To be fair, he got stood up off a downward elbow by the ref. So
I'm talking
even
about
that, like, I'm not comfortable just because we haven't seen much.
Right. We couldn't really do any damage either. The only damage he did was an illegal elbow.
Yeah, which is that was freak dumb of him. But like,
it was also
I wouldn't count that at all because we saw basically nothing. We just saw him get mount, drop the down elbow, and get stood up.
It wasn't mount. It was the wraparound
leg mount.
Leg mount.
It was leg mount,
which is what Khabib likes to do. But Poirier also didn't really let him get off any shots other than that one illegal elbow, which is out of frustration. So, what do we see? The question comes down to this for me, and obviously we you know, the game plan is pretty straightforward for both of them. For Khabib, it's get him down, do damage, do his usual thing. For Poirier, it's to basically ride out the storm, it seems, while also getting his damage in as time goes on. I do think that we're going to see a lot more body-specific attacks from Poirier. A lot of
he kind of has to.
Yeah, I think that as Khabib comes in, he's going to land a lot of body shots with punches. He is a southpaw. I think the last southpaw that Khabib faced was Michael Johnson. I think Michael Johnson.
No, Conor McGregor.
Oh, sorry, Conor. Right. Fair enough. But Conor also didn't really focus on the body at all.
No, he hit the body quite often.
He threw a couple fade, yes.
But not
like at work.
In the third.
Early.
I want to preface that it worked, but like at that point, it was too late.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Early. Dustin seems to be like that's part of the game plan. Based on what
I hope so.
No, it specifically was one of the things he said. I didn't read it, but they said we're going to be focusing on the body. And Poirier has that kind of thudding power, is the way I would describe it. It seems that even when he's just throwing regular punches, his opponents feel them more than... It's not a snappy power. It's a... My fist
I'm not sure.
Large power. You know what I mean?
I think that comes down to... I think that comes down to how he keeps his base, because Conor McGregor can hit extremely hard in quick flurries, but he tends to kind of get a bit overzealous and drift above his base. So the start of the flurry will land a lot harder than the end of the flurry. Whereas Poirier has really good footwork in the pocket, so he tends to move around an opponent to keep his base while he flurries. So instead of it just being hard in the beginning, soft at the end, it'll be hard throughout, even if it's not.
Yeah, I mean,
even if the peak damage isn't singly hard.
But I do also want to point out that Alejandro, I'll let you speak next. One thing that also should be mentioned is that Poirier is actually really good at circling out and also pivoting off of his shots and using angles to land. While Khabib's far more effective with his takedowns and grappling in straight lines. He's not really that effective at following people. He doesn't really have great pressuring footwork. And
well, we're gonna see now. We're gonna see.
I mean, this will really be the test. I think if he could shut down Poirier and just beat Poirier, then that's going to be
because Poirier.
Can I just say something?
I mean, this will be the biggest
Yes, go ahead.
in my opinion. If he beats Poirier, it seals him as like the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want to say that I absolutely hate picking Khabib fights for this reason. Because before the fight, you're like, well, Khabib has shit striking and he can't do this. And then he wins, and it's like, that was obvious.
He doesn't have shit striking. He has bad technical striking.
Good striking.
No, he does not have good
No. He has a great feel for it. Like, he's very crafty has a good feel for shot selection, as well as when to move his head. Yep. It's just that the actual mechanics of it are quite bad. Less than pleasing.
Also, we have to mention Khabib is really bad off the back foot. He really is. He's so uncomfortable fighting off the back foot, visibly. Like, he does not want to do it. Yes, and we know how he reacts. He reacts by rushing forward, a flying knee and overhands and like these crazy shots. And I don't think that's going to work against Poirier. I think Poirier is just going to circle out. Like, he'll just
the one thing I want to mention, the one thing I want to mention with that there, which I did pick up from Poirier's fights, and he kind of needs to, I wouldn't call it a habit, but I think he'll need to avoid doing this, is that when he flurries, he likes to shift into combinations in order to follow you much faster. But we've also seen Khabib hit reactive double legs before, and that is great against someone who shifts forward. So, like, if Poirier, like, I know Poirier might not do this if they train him not to, but I've seen it before. So, like, he just needs to avoid doing that one thing when he is pressuring.
Usually he does it, though, when he hurts you.
No, in some of these fights, I've seen it when opponent gives way. When he
does it occasionally. I'm saying he usually does it, though, when he's, like, flurrying to try and hurt you or has hurt you.
Yeah. I was about to say that, yeah.
He did it against Max a lot, but that was usually also when he landed a big shot. And Max is the only guy in recent times that has, I think, effectively pressured Poirier, and Max's pressure footwork is leagues above Khabib's.
Yeah, I'm not
striking. So
I'm not even talking about pressure at that point. I'm just saying, like, it's that one specific sequence that I think he might want to just hold off until Khabib is definitely hurt.
I think that if he does get taken down off of that, it stops his forward momentum, I think he'll adjust. Poirier is a very good adjuster as well.
Yeah, but like I don't want to be 1 week later being like, well, why the fuck did Poirier not instantly disengage or avoid that opening?
That's what I'm saying.
Because we've seen it happen a few times.
I would be shocked if this fight doesn't go at least 4 rounds. Not shocked, but if it is finished before the third, like either one knocking the other out or finishing the other by submission or whatever it is, that would actually surprise me. Just because it's both of them are. Khabib is super durable and Poirier is incredibly defensively sound at this point, and I can't remember Poirier ever being finished on the ground. It seems to be like he just gets flat.
Question. I have one question. Maybe I just have bad memory, but how do we know Khabib is really super durable? If I can't remember anybody hitting him clean.
Johnson hit him clean. Barboza.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Barboza also landed the spin to his head, if I remember correctly. I think Dos Anjos landed some really good shots.
He did?
Barboza hit him with
Barboza landed 2 spinning heel kicks to
really
his
hard
head.
spin kicks, and he was totally fine.
On the head, they landed like flush?
They didn't land extremely accurately with the ball of the foot. They kind of landed just above the ankle.
One did.
But I mean,
I don't remember.
Heel kick.
I thought they were sort of.
One landed really clean.
And
you saw that Khabib was like, okay, if I'm going to rest, I got to be a little more careful. But he wasn't phased. We got to move on.
Like he got.
What are your
okay, no, fair enough.
Let's talk about predictions. I got TKO 4th round Dustin Poirier. What do you
Same.
Can I just ask? Can I just ask one thing before we continue?
Sure.
Because it kind of popped into my head when you mentioned.
Yeah, but you have to make it.
Dustin getting sparked, but like. I know MJ was like surprised him with his hand speed, but when was the last time besides the MJ fight that he got surprised by someone having quicker hand speed?
Never. Maybe KD.
Not before the MJ fight, but like since then.
Never.
No, it never happened.
Because I don't think anyone... Yeah, but maybe Pettis had quicker hand speed?
Yeah, because like Khabib is a really like low-key, like superb athlete.
No. He's a superb athlete, but it's not his hand speed.
He's super quick.
Not his hand.
No, well,
he can't throw in combination, and MJ threw like a 3-piece combination that ended with an uppercut.
Like, oh yeah, no, that's why I'm
something totally different. I don't think
that's why I'm posing the question, because like in singular shots he's incredibly fast, just that his mechanics aren't there.
Yeah,
but I don't want to count the MJ fight because it was so long ago, but like I can't remember him responding to someone who was faster since then either. Like how he responds.
Pettis had faster individual hands. In the speed to speed department, I would say Pettis and Holloway.
Okay.
But the problem is also that Khabib is going to use his hand speed in different ways. Even whatever
he's
using it, he's not going to be using it to engage in a striking battle with him. And if he
does, no, I'm not saying to knock him out, but like he just seemed surprised in that fight, and like I don't know. I find it kind of interesting.
He was also super emotional for that fight. Like there was a lot of bad blood. Like after the fight, he woke up and he immediately like Johnson was taunting him and he was saying "fuck you" to Michael. It was a weird fight. All right, moving on. Edson Barboza, Paul Felder, the rematch. Very different places in their career, I would say. Barboza has gone through a lot in recent times. Since their fight, Barboza is 4-4. He lost to Tony immediately after the Felder fight. 3-fight win streak. Lost to Khabib, then Kevin Lee, beat Dan Hooker in that ridiculous fight, and then knocked out clean by Justin Gaethje. Since losing to Barboza, Felder lost a split decision to Ross Pearson, won 2 fights, lost to Trinaldo, 3-fight win streak, lost to Mike Perry at welterweight, and then beat James Vick. Both have had some really big wars, but man, Barboza's the guy who's definitely taken a lot more damage. Neither one of them are spring chickens. Barboza is 33, Felder is 35. They've both been fighting for a while. But the basic core mechanics of this matchup, I don't feel like Felder has necessarily improved on the things that were the troublesome parts of their first fight. Skill-wise, this should be an Edson Barboza decision, right? The durability is where it comes down to. Like, can Barboza still, hold up? Like, he was finished in 2 of his last 3 fights. He's had the war with Dan Hooker, the Khabib mauling.
I wouldn't call it a war with Hooker, though. It's more of a...
it wasn't a war. More like...
He ate a lot more punches than you think he did. He ate a lot.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was kind of like the 7-day war, where like... It was more like the 7-day war, where like he took some damage, but like, the other guy lost way harder.
Right, but he
got bodied.
A lot of shots to the head, man. Like, he ate 59 significant strikes to the head, and Hooker was hitting him hard too. Like, this was not a like. Round 2 was not a pleasant round for Barboza.
Okay, so I think it boils down to,
and he was forced to play a pace he did not want to.
Yeah.
Well, I still kind of think some of that came down to the change of camps. Because, like, if there's one thing we know about ATT is that they love pocket boxers. And if there's one thing we know about Barboza, it's that, like, I don't think being a pocket boxer really suits him that well until he gets his defense.
It's a garbage style for him. The dude does not have
That's what I was going to say.
He doesn't have the
That's what I was going to say.
He doesn't have the power or the durability to work that game necessarily. And here's the thing. If he tries to pocket box with Felder, he's going to get knocked out. Like, Paul Felder's not an amazing pocket boxer, but he's accurate and can hit really hard, and he's going to depend on Edson. If Edson is not fast enough, I think he's lost a step in terms of speed at this point.
I mean, he'll still be faster than Felder, but I am worried about the pocket boxing thing.
Like every elite lightweight is faster than Paul Felder, unfortunately. Like, the dude is
except apparently James Vick.
Well, I said elite. That's not being me. Also, James Vick blocked me on Twitter.
Yeah, we know.
Very proud of that one.
I'd be proud too.
Yeah, he went on a blocking spree. I feel like it was reminding him something about Lloyd Irvin and attempted rape, but he couldn't get his dick hard. That was the way he got out of prison. I wanted to rape her, but I couldn't because I couldn't get it up.
Oh God!
Yeah,
That's a real fucking thing. You could look that up.
That's the argument, Bilal. That is the actual argument.
I know. I'm saying, what the fuck? That's an actual thing. How the fuck did that work? It's like I wanted to shoot the guy, but my gun jammed.
Well,
yeah, people try all kinds of things. So I think we all agree that if Edson Barboza shows up trying to like pocket boxing, he's going to lose.
I think that if he tries to engage in Paul Felder in any way other than the way he did in the first fight, he'll lose. Because Paul Felder, despite being billed as a striker, is a far better grappler than he is as a striker, in my opinion. The guy's actually a really, really dangerous grappler. He doesn't have a lot of submissions, but he has done some serious... 3 fights ago, he TKO'd Chucky Olives, Charles Oliveira.
What?
He out-grappled with and TKO'd Chucky Olives, and it was a really good matchup. And he was in some dangerous spots. And immediately after that, now Chucky Olives is on a 5-fight win streak. So,
and he strikes better than he ever has, by the way.
He's definitely better, but he's also, like I said, he's not better in the ways that's going to make him a more effective fighter against the style that...
Oh, I know, but he's super fun now.
Right. So, he's beyond fun. Dude comes to fight. I absolutely love him. So, realistically, I feel like if Barboza shows up, plays that, like, circling, outfighting, kind of like the edge of the that, like, miniature octagon?
I like to call it pocket kickboxing.
I guess. Yeah, that's fair. But I want him to, like, that square? That octagon inside the octagon?
Yes, the inside octagon, yes.
If he plays around that distance, I mean, he should just be able to do what he did in the first fight, where he was just basically able to land his kicks. He was able to land his kicks, jab, circle, pivot. He was able to just play with Felder, who just kind of walked at him in a straight line. Felder's pressure fighting is better, but not like in a level where I would say like he's not necessarily going to be able to shut down Edson. The problem is,
I was about to ask, is it that better? Because it just looks like he got better at feinting, not really at cutting off.
Well, that is a component of pressure, getting your opponent to stay in place while you so that you can land your strikes, which he has gotten better at. The problem is that Edson probably won't bite on them.
Well, yeah, if he fights at long range like he normally does, it will probably just be, I am too far away for you to hit me, and now I'm going to throw a switch kick to your liver.
And the thing is that one thing about Edson that doesn't get talked about is he generally he has a good sense of distance when he's able to relax.
If he ever relax, though?
I'm very curious how he's going to come back from the Gaethje knockout.
Because
try and exchange with him in the pocket, which scares the shit out of me.
No, we saw. He tried kicking with him in the pocket, and then he was like, "Nah, I think this isn't working. I'll go out."
And then he panicked. So
yeah,
I'm very concerned. But we have seen this fight before. It's a while ago. Don't get me wrong. I know it was 4 years ago, but at the same time, it was Felder's first loss. And I don't think, and immediately after that loss, he had the same problems against Ross Pearson. So I don't feel like, and still to this day, I don't feel like we've really seen him address those issues. And none of the fighters on his resume make me feel like he has. So I'm going to go with...
Or if he has, we have not seen it.
Correct. And I'm going to go with Edson Barboza by unanimous decision.
Yeah, I would say that, but I'm not sure where he is right now. Accounting for like the Gaethje KO, the damage he's taken.
I completely understand, which is why I'm saying it with obviously this is the comment of like, what are we expecting to see from him? I just happen to think that we will see him. We will see him not return to form, but still be good enough to implement the skills he's already have built up. So yeah.
Also, James Vick is coming off from a collapsed lung.
Okay.
Do you remember that fight against James Vick? He suffered a collapsed lung.
Against Felder?
I don't know. Against Vick. Vick. I'm sorry, Felder against Vick.
Who's Vick?
James Vick.
Oh, Felder suffered a collapsed lung?
Yep.
Damn. Well, no one ever said he's not tough.
No, bullshit.
What's your call here,
Bilal? I pretty much just agree with you. Like, prime style Barboza probably just styles on Felder all over again. But
yeah, but he's not around anymore, Bilal.
Right. It's not even that like he's starting to age or anything. I just said I don't trust him at ATT that much.
I hear that. Don't get me wrong. I am basically basing my pick on if Barboza is smart enough to just I should just do what works.
Yeah, yes, but like at the same time, ATT told Joanna and Jacek
not to clinch.
At the same time, ATT told Joanna and Jacek to stay out the clinch, an area that you dominate.
I can let them off the hook for that one just because we really haven't seen that consistently be an issue. I think that was just a really bad choice for some reason that they made, and I really don't understand it. And we really haven't seen mistakes like that since or even before.
Yeah, but like mud fight.
Also, she kind of
beat Rose up in the clinch. Mud fight trying to beat Rose up in the clinch, and then went back to a corner, and they were like, "Don't clinch up with her."
I know. All right.
What the fuck were you watching?
Make a pick because we really have to move on.
Oh, fuck it, Barboza for life.
Thank you. All right, Makhachev, David Ramos. We're gonna briefly discuss this. Okay, David Ramos. I like him. I always love my jiu-jitsu guys, but he just hasn't. He just does not have the resume for me to think that he's going to be able to implement his game against someone like Islam Makhachev.
What you got against Gunther, dude?
Nothing, but no.
Austin Hubbard.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, Makhachev's just a better fighter. I really.
As far as we know, yes.
Yeah, and his takedown.
Yeah, that easy.
His takedown defense is damn near perfect. So I'm gonna say that this is the fight that Ramos gets beaten again. I mean, I know he lost to Sergio Moraes at welterweight, but at lightweight he's been really good. But I mean, Chris Grutzmacher, Nick Hine, John Gunther, Austin Hubbard. That is not a resume that makes me think, yeah, you're ready for the step up to Islam Makhachev. And he didn't exactly get takedowns at will at Austin Hubbard. He got 3 out of 7 takedowns. He had a hard time getting those takedowns. So I'm going to go with Islam Makhachev. I think that it's possible we'll see Ramos gas out, but I also don't know if Makhachev is going to finish him. So I'm going to pick a Makhachev UD. So go ahead.
To be fair, I think a Makhachev head kick is somewhat likely, just because he seems to be developing that kind of Luke Rockhold game.
Not a great game.
But I wouldn't call it perfect, but at the same time, it has its favorable style matchups, to say the least. It's if you're going to stay at range at him, then he'll probably try check hooking or blasting you to the body with a kick until he can get into the clinch and wrestle from there. But if someone is going to gas out in front of him, we've seen that sort of style get head kick KOs before. And being gassed and getting kicked in the head isn't really good for your health, to say the least. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
But I just want to say it is interesting that Makhachev likes to get his grappling game going, but I'm not sure if he's really going to come into this fight wanting to. So it should be fun at least.
Definitely will be fun.
Yeah. Although, can you imagine if it just ends up looking like RDA versus Khabib, but like a Luke Rockhold version?
God.
Constant mat return, so you can't get a proper BJJ game really going. Just grinding you up the fence, tripping you, then you stand back up, then he trips you again.
It's like the new Luke Rockhold, but smaller now.
Yeah, that's so fucking bad. Everyone knows Luke Rockhold developed that game with Kane and DC around him, and now there's Islam developing that with Khabib around him.
But I thought we had agreed that was kind of an accident. He just didn't look like everybody else like him.
Guys, we really have to move.
No, he developed it. He developed it as a response to all his teammates.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
I've muted Bilal. He can't talk right now.
Okay.
Shamil Abdurakhimov, Curtis Blaydes. This is Curtis Blaydes returning from that.
To beat another guy.
Well, I think they're giving him a nice little step down from the Francis Ngannou fight where Justin Willis and Shamil Abdurakhimov. It's a nice, definitely something to let him work his game. Abdurakhimov is actually on a 3-fight win streak. Chase Sherman, Andrei Arlovsky, and Marcin Tybura. As much as I
not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. I don't think he's going to be able to beat Curtis, but at the same time, he's not the type of guy. Like, here's the thing: Tim Johnson TKO'd Shamil Abdurakhimov, and usually with Curtis Blaydes, I look at how durable the fighter is before I say he'll TKO them. And I think that's a good way of looking at it. It's just that, I mean, like, there's Daniel, like, if you look at his UFC record, he doesn't really TKO guys who are either good or durable. Mark Hunt, he did not TKO. Alex Overeem, he TKO'd, and it took him 3 rounds before he figured out I can just elbow him repeatedly in the face. Unanimous decision. Daniel Omielanchuk, unanimous decision. But Alexei Olenek, who gases after 12 seconds, he was able to TKO with a doctor stoppage. Cody East, a TKO by elbows. Like, he's just kind of like, the question is just for me, does Shamil fall into that which tier does he fall into? Is he durable / good enough to survive to a decision with Curtis, or will he get finished? I happen to kind of be like torn, because getting finished by Tim Johnson, even if it was 4 years ago, is not a good sign. But at the same time, like, since then, the only person to finish him is Derek Lewis, and he's been in there with Walt Harris. Andrei Arlovsky hits hard. It's kind of like it's interesting to me. I want to say that Shamil is really good at kind of like grinding things to a halt. It took Derek Lewis 4 rounds to finally finish him. So I want to say Curtis by UD, but I am open to being changed, my mind changed to having Curtis maybe TKO him in the 3rd as well.
I don't know. Like, yes, I mean, I agree. Like, Curtis Blaydes is going to take him down, and he's going to be like a ride for him. But he did get TKO'd by Derek Lewis.
That's not something
That's
pretty cool.
I know. But if you remember that fight, it kind of took a while.
4 rounds. That's what. Yeah.
Yes. So. That's why it's not gonna take a while. I don't feel like it's gonna take that a while, like with fucking Curtis Blaydes grinding you down since the 1st round. I think it's because he doesn't like commit necessarily as much.
He doesn't. Curtis Blaydes doesn't really commit to ground and pound until he feels like he's totally safe, which is why he waited until the 3rd round to really start landing on Overeem. And that's what I'm saying. I don't feel like Shamil ever gives you that like feeling of, oh, you're safe.
Yeah,
he's always trying to like diffuse you.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's gonna last the whole fight.
Yeah, that's like, I don't think this will be like a good fight at all.
No, well, it's difficult with this kind of matchups.
Yeah, I don't think
for you to have like a fun fight.
Yeah,
it's difficult with heavyweight matchups in general.
Especially.
Well, I'm trying to be gracious here.
Well, yeah, that's not true. If you have like certain fighters, you can kind of say like, I know that this will be a fun fight because you have Overeem versus Ngannou. We knew would be something fun was going to happen one way or another. You know, like.
Yes, but these are strikers, right? Strikers first. Like, these are not strikers first.
Yeah. So let's. I'm gonna. What's your pick, Bilal? We got to move on.
Well, I just want to answer Alejandro. Like, it's heavyweight, even when it's striker versus striker, it's not necessarily fun.
Yeah, it has to be a certain matchup because.
Conceded.
Yeah, Derek Lewis and Ngannou.
Yeah, and like Derek Lewis starts the fight gassed and then just waits till you catch up. So
he just has he makes everybody fight at their worst. It's like his superpower, which I adore.
I think it's because like he just after a minute in he like gasses himself and then opponent's like, yes, I can fucking finish this guy now. And then they gas trying to finish him. And then when they both gas, it's like, yes, now this is a fair fight. Come at me.
Okay, we have to move on.
Eric Lewis starts the fight gassed and waits to catch up. Is fucking A-grade shit right there. As much as I would love to discuss a lot of the fights on this card, we're just gonna you got to make just a quick pick: Mirbek Taisumov versus Carlos Diego Ferreira.
Yeah, Taisumov.
Why do you pick the other one? What's your reasoning, and who are you picking?
Taisumov
for
because
Taisumov?
Power.
Yeah, he's just gives me the idea that he's just better at everything, and he has a stupid amount of power. Also, this is a fight between two guys that popped dirty in the USADA. Which kind of disappointing in the sense that I think it was kind of like for supplements and shit like that. So it's kind of disappointing that they lost a bunch of time for that.
I don't know. All I know is that I can't not pick Taisumov because he fights so little that I don't know how he looks anymore. So it's like, I know he hits hard, and that's basically it.
No, but he's fun. Like he trains at...
Hold on. Ferreira popped for that same crap that Machida popped for. That's that fat burner. It was not even like a...
I know, that's what I meant. Like, it's a supplement. No, that was Taisumov. Like, Ferreira for some bullshit, like...
No, I'm talking about Ferreira. He popped for 7 keto DHA, whatever it is.
Yes. It was some nonsense like that.
I think Taisumov popped for something legit, though, no?
No. It was stanosolol. And apparently it was proven that it came from a supplement.
Well, one is a steroid and the other one is a fat burner. So.
No, I know, but my point is that it's a longer discussion about how far USADA goes to punish these things. It's a different argument.
Second. So Taisumov got a 6-month suspension for it. Ferreira got a fucking 17-month suspension for 7 keto. Or whatever.
No, and it is bullshit. But what I am saying is that Taisumov, in my opinion, okay, so if we're getting into this, he should be much bigger than he is right now. Yeah. But I think that kind of affected him because motherfucker, look at his fights. Jesus, this guy is fun.
Yeah, but look at who he's beat.
I know, but it's fun. He knocks people the fuck out. That's how you make stars.
And it's like clean counters off the back foot. It's not like...
Yes. Hold on. First of all, Taisumov missed weight for his last fight. He missed the fight.
Who gives a shit? He's fun.
And the last fighter he fought, Desmond Green, in the UFC, probably the best fighter he fought, I would say, he didn't finish him. It was actually not a fun fight. It wasn't such a great fight either, if I remember correctly. I might be misremembering, but it wasn't. Desmond Green is the best fighter he fought, and he went to decision with him. And
well,
I think it should.
To be honest,
but he's fun. He's fun. All right hands all the time. He's fun.
Dude, did you watch Ferreira's most recent fights? The guy's been on an absolute tear of fun fights. He went to decision with OAM, but he fucking was beating the shit out of OAM, and it was a fun fight.
Yeah, but he's not built like Taisumov. He doesn't quite look as dominant.
He's also a better fighter, I think, and he beat.
No, he's not. Okay, we're gonna see.
No, I wanted to say we haven't seen Taisumov fight every decade, so no one knows what he looks like every fight because, what the fuck does he look like in between it? Dude, just fucks off to Mount Olympus or something and then comes back.
Well, I think it's a little overrated. He does fight. He's fought once a year for the past 3 years. I guess
that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
So he had a super long. He's been around forever.
He fought in April of 2016. He fought in September of 2017 and September of 2018. So he'll fight now another year. It's been another year.
Okay, I think the truth is that we like the idea of Taisumov more than the actual Taisumov, but it doesn't matter because he's so much fun.
I think that Ferreira is going to actually beat Taisumov, and I think it'll be he'll win a pretty clean decision.
I refuse to acknowledge that.
The guy, he just beat Rustam Khabilov, and Khabilov is an extremely underrated player.
I know, yeah, but look, the more you argue, the more I'm going to agree with you, and I don't want that.
Yeah, but does Khabilov have power?
In Khabilov,
he does not. Khabilov was on not the kind of power.
Khabilov was on a 6-fight win streak and a win over Desmond Green.
I'm not
liking no power.
Ferreira does. Ferreira has power. So yeah. Okay, let's move on to we had Weili Zhang take the title by force in 42 seconds from Jessica Andrade. Well, damn. I think that a lot of people were picking Weili, but I don't think people were picking her to win in less than a minute.
I picked TKO for round 2, though. And I thought it would be kicks. But I was correct that the openings that Andrade leaves are just there to be exploited by somebody that can throw hands.
The old motherfuckers never invited me to the Vic party.
Yeah.
I think it's listen. I looked at a bunch of different angles that people were sharing, and the back of the head shots. I mean, it kind of. If it was the point of the elbow landing, I would agree, but I don't think it was the point of the elbow landing. I think it was.
No, it was the point of the elbow landing. I mean, it's not her fault. It's not. No, I think it is. I think it's pretty clear, but I don't think it's her fault.
No, if
because
what you could do, like it's not like she was and she was aiming for the back of the head. She was throwing an elbow.
No,
Rogers was
I think
trying to push her through the cage.
No, yeah. What I think happened is that she was trying to find distance, and once she locked into this distance, she just kept it. But also, like the referee, if you don't want that to happen, you have to stop them, because he literally said to her, "Do not throw strikes to the back of the head." But he's talking to her in English. There's a shit ton of noise, and she's like completely focused on this task at hand, so she doesn't even hear him. So you need to be more hands-on.
I kind of dislike this rule because on the one hand, that does happen by accident sometimes, but on the other, like Andrade had to turn her head into it for it to happen.
Yeah,
she was trying to push her through the cage.
Yes, but they do land to the area. Like, but what are you gonna do? Like, you can only let this thing play out. If you're not gonna stop it, you can only let this thing play out. And unfortunately for Jessica,
especially from that frame in the clinch position, because we've seen that a few times now, where
she's pushing against her. She's literally pushing.
Yeah, someone will frame with the elbow and then fire off the other elbow to the side of the head. But like from that angle, it doesn't take that much of an opponent's head to turn for you to land at the back of the head. It's a slight angle, and then all of a sudden it's landing there.
Yeah.
And Andrade was pushing so hard that like that little space that opened up easily just allowed her to turn into it.
And she was already rocked.
I can't blame anyone for that.
I think
it was a right hand that rocked her. It was a right hand, and it was really kind of like
tight right hand.
Yes, but for example, she hit her when Andrade is almost like there's no back foot in that sequence almost. Like it's literally her feet when she gets hit, her feet are almost side by side. And Zhang like immediately turns back and steps a little to the left and then uncorks it.
Yeah.
And she hit her clean coming in. Like
I think what people were I think it's important to note that people are calling for Rose to fight Weili. And I'm like
no. Like
wait,
I'm gonna be honest here, like
if she can take her down, yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
Joanna has a more recent win at strawweight than her. And there's a couple other prospects also who kind of deserve a title fight at this point.
So
I don't want to see Rose immediately back in.
No, Rose needs.
I agree.
I also would think that Joanna would cause some problems for Weili, assuming she's still near peak.
I think she might lose though, but it will be an interesting one.
I think we need to see how her weight cut is affected by the new boobs.
Yeah. Yes.
Although it's so...
I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm serious.
Like, no. I agree with you.
Added probably a good couple pounds.
Yes, and she was dying when she wasn't cutting that couple pounds.
Yeah.
Although I just want to say it is weird that like a lot of people compare this to the Misha Holly Ronda situation, but it seems more like Benson with Rose beating Jędrzejczyk and then Andrade beating Rose and Jędrzejczyk beating Andrade.
This is more Rampage. This is more like the old light heavyweight chill. Like
yes.
For me, this kind of reminds me of like
Rampage, Machida, Shogun, and Evans.
Yeah, just completely turning around like the like who owns me now, Isabel? Like who owns me now?
He went from Rampage lost the belt to Griffin, who lost the belt to Evans, who lost the belt to Machida, who lost the belt to Shogun. who lost, and then Machida lost to Page, Shogun lost to Jones, Evans lost to Machida. It was just like a weird clusterfuck until Jones came through.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's strawweight right now.
It's supposed to be Evans versus Hua, if you remember. That's strawweight right now, where you have like Andrade, Whaley, Joanna, Rose, and you got another. And then you have
Tatiana
Suarez coming up. So this will be weird. Anyway,
yeah, like it's even more similar to like Benson Henderson and Anthony Pettis, because like we know Benson Henderson is the way more proven fighter, but like he just
may I say something
lose to Pettis.
Slightly controversial? May I say something slightly controversial?
What?
This it is kind of like light heavyweight, but the fighters are maybe like a tad better now. Yeah, kinda. No, I mean the women today compared to the men back then.
I think that I mean we look at Jessica Andrade. Is she really better as a fighter?
No, not Jessica Andrade, but I mean Joanna, she kind of is.
Joanna might be, I guess.
Tatiana Suarez, she kind of is.
Really? You think she?
Yeah.
In terms of wrestling, of wrestling and groundwork, she kind of is.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so, but you can disagree. Like it's controversial.
I think that.
And I mean, like Rose Namajunas and Alexa Grasso are way better punch kickers than like old light heavyweight also.
I mean, again, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But anyway, let's move on. We got to talk about the last fight I want to talk about is Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos versus Jingliang. That was surprising to me. Lee has clearly upped his game. Right?
He's Yankolev, right?
Yeah, the leech. That first round, like Zaleski was getting, what he did was set a rhythm that lulled Zaleski into a set, like he's just like trying to time Lee's slower movements, and then he just exploded with that right hand. And what was really interesting is that he was kind of like Zaleski's pressure game was bad. Like he did not pressure effectively. He had he didn't cut off the cage. He didn't really throw strikes into space to corral him in front of him. He was just following him, and Lee was getting that timing. And he had that first flurry, which I think was more like, I think they called it in the booth. They basically said that he was kind of off balance when he was throwing that. And Lee understood that Zaleski just was not ready for those explosions. And what he did was he kind of was like he was circling and circling and circling. Zaleski was following. He changed directions. Zaleski continued to follow, but he did not account for the change in the space between them. And then Lee exploded forward, and he was in range to land that huge right hand. And the way, like I replayed it multiple times. Lee was circling to his right. Zaleski was following him as in a southpaw position, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he was southpaw. I'd have to rewatch it again. And changed directions to go to his left. Lee changed to go to circle left. Zaleski just started to turn and follow without actually adjusting the distance between them. And Lee caught him with that right hand while Zaleski was literally airborne because he was just hopping in place, which I fucking hate. Like, you should not be doing that when you're in range. And Zaleski had could not get the timing and space between him and Lee. And it was a beautiful performance by Lee. Really hurt him. The second round, continued to land some of those big shots. Zaleski tried to brawl. He kept missing on a lot of big punches. And then by the third round, Zaleski knew he was down 2-0. He came out. He was trying to pressure. Again, just following. And Lee was content to let him follow, throw, even though he landed some strikes. Whenever they did get into an exchange in the middle, Zaleski was able to land his best shots. And Lee realized that. He only did it, I think, twice the whole fight. But by the end of it, he was able to hurt Zaleski with a beautiful uppercut, dropped him, finished him in the last dying seconds of the fight. Fantastic performance. That's his first ranked win. I was very, very disappointed to see that Zaleski just did not try and wrestle or grapple. He's a really good grappler, and he just didn't. And I don't understand why, especially after the knockdown in the first. Like, for him to not try, and granted, he couldn't really get a beat on him physically, but he never gave Lee that worry. He never gave him a reason to think, like, I got to worry about this takedown. And we see that Lee is, while he's a capable grappler, he's not a good grappler. He's not a fantastic grappler, So, beautiful performance. Really disappointing from Zaleski. He just didn't fight smart, and I'm really disappointed. That ends a 7-fight win streak, I believe he had, and it ends it with his first knockout loss. So, I mean, give Lee a ranked opponent also. Like, give him a really good ranked opponent. Give him someone in the 11 to 13 range, maybe.
Demian Maia.
No.
Fuck you.
No.
No, Maia's fighting different, dude.
Yeah, that too.
Winner of that fight.
No. I think
Fuck you.
Hold on. I think a good fight for him is honestly, give him Ponzinibbio is scheduled to fight anybody? I don't think so. Right?
No, but he's
I don't want
super
him to
injured.
fight Ponzinibbio. I'd rather him fight Magny when Magny gets back.
No, leave Magny alone. Leave Magny alone.
Magny's not ranked.
Yes, leave him alone.
But like Ponzinibbio and Luque both deserve a step up. I don't want to see them go down to
Ponzinibbio. The problem for Ponzinibbio is that he's been out for a while. Let him.
And he's injured.
Yeah,
he's still injured.
Yeah, but he's old. He's getting old. Like, I might as well just see him get thrown to the top right now.
Okay, fair enough.
Before he gets injured again.
Okay, that is actually a good argument.
It happens to be a lot of the guys in the top 15 are coming off losses, so I'm not really sure who they'd match Lee up with. But anyway, I think that's it, unless you guys have something to say about this fight.
No, I was just sad when I found out about it.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Please follow us on YouTube, MMAngst Podcast. Follow us on SoundCloud, same thing. You can follow us on Twitter at MMAngstP. And buy some beef jerky. Share, subscribe, all that shit. All right, guys. I think that's it.
Thank you.
Say bye.